Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 SEC predictions from yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and my partner in crime, Austin Williams from Sports Talk with Austin, as we go over our take on what the SEC will be looking like in this simulcast live stream for the 2025 SEC and the 2025 college football season. Who's going to be playing in Atlanta? Tune in to find out because you're going to be in for a wild ride. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, Jackson. I'm excited to do the SEC predictions, a little sooner than we originally planned. But don't worry, Big Ten fans. One way or another, we're going to get the Big Ten predictions to you. Don't fret it at all. We just put the SEC in front. We're going to talk a little SEC tonight, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see who we have going to Atlanta in December. As the title says, who will be playing in Atlanta, because that's the ultimate goal in the SEC. Who's playing for the championship game and possibly a spot in the playoffs come January. So I'm excited to talk about it, and I know a certain proportion of Jackson, even on the outside, he may have the brave face, but there's a little part of Jackson that's rooting for LSU to win it all. I know there is, because he loves BK. He loves BK. But with all that being said, though, I'm excited, though, Jack, and I'm ready to get into it if you are.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the 2026 SEC predictions, and we're going to start off with me once again. Again, at number one, I have the LSU Tigers going 10-2 and 6-2 in conference. Like I said in the ACC prediction live stream, if you all paid attention and watch, I had LSU winning at Clemson. At number two, I have Texas at 9-3, going 6-2 in conference. I have them losing to Ohio State. I have Bama at 3 at 9-3, 5-3. I think Bama. I think they win the tiebreaker over Georgia. That's how I incorporate that. I think they beat Georgia, they beat Tennessee, and Bama ultimately earns the tiebreaker, but just come up just a little short because they lose, and they beat South Carolina as well, but they lose that one game that they shouldn't.
Oh, you
Should
got Ole Miss, Missouri at 5-4. Do you mean to put one of them at 5-3 or at 4-4? Or do you mean to have both of them at 4-4?
Well, Jackson, because there's eight conference games, right?
Mhm.
Okay, hold on. There we go. 4-4. Here we go. We'll fix it. There we go. There we go.
Oh, you got them losing Tulane in non-con, or do you have them losing to Washington State in non-con?
Washington State.
Oh,
I
wow.
think
That's bold.
I I I I think Washington State, Jackson, that would be an Ole Miss thing to do, in my opinion. Even though no, Washington State on paper may not be that great. I do think Washington State's good for one upset, and it could be over Ole Miss, or it could be to Tulane. Right now, I'm leaning Washington State, but I think one of those two teams could upset Ole Miss, if we're being quite frank. But then I have Georgia at 4. I have Tennessee at 5. Even though with them losing Nico, I do think, yeah, they may take a step back, but not too much of a drastic step back. From what I've heard and what I've seen, Tennessee's defense is still supposed to be borderline top 15 in the country, and their offense is still under Josh Heupel has shown me nothing but good things. So I think he will figure something out as well. Texas A&M under Mike Elko will go 8-4. I think South Carolina once again will underperform and go 8-4. I think Ole Miss will go 8-4. Missouri, I have them going 8-4. And surprise, surprise, I have Kentucky going 7-5. I have Kentucky being my shocker pick at 7-5 with an upset bid over upset bid in non-con, losing their upset bid, and we have oh, cool. Anywho, I got distracted. My bad. I've got Florida at 11. I know that's a big step down as well. I got Vandy at 6-6, Oklahoma at 6-6, Arkansas 5-7. I have Auburn at 5-7, which Jackson's gonna like that, and I have Mississippi State finishing dead last. Poor Bulldogs. I'm so sorry, but Gator and B Bean says Gators will go 4-8. DJ Lagway is hurt again. His body is made of glass. I wouldn't say they go 4-8, Bean. I know you may be down on your Gators, but they're still gonna win 7 games in my opinion. And in my
Well, they'll win more than that.
I have them winning 7, Jackson. I think there's a couple games there Florida could lose, and they've got a tougher stretch this year. Matter of fact, I've got them losing to Kentucky because that's just the Florida thing to do. But in my SEC championship game, I've got Texas over LSU, and Texas takes the SEC crown in their second year in this conference. And Jackson, I know there's part of you that is dying to rip on that. So here in a minute, I'm going to let you have it because I know.
Well, actually, I just have a question about everything else, actually.
Oh, so you don't mind the LSU pick?
Okay, that's your SEC title prediction. I don't care, man. I mean,
but that's my SEC championship game. Texas over LSU.
No, we do illegal in Alabama, B-Bean. I'll get to why I've got him at number 2 later on. I promise you that.
Yes.
It was going to be Alabama, but I tell you why, it's not Bama in there.
So these are Jackson's predictions. He has Texas at number 1. He has Florida at number 2. He has Georgia at 3. Bama at 4. As you can see, he's got a cluster.
Well, Austin, I don't have Texas at 11-1. I've got them at 10-2, but 7-1 in non-con.
Okay, hold on. Let me put that down. Here we go. There we go. There we go. We fixed it. There we go. So as we can see, now we fixed it. We're fixing things on the fly, folks. That's what we do here. We just be patient with us. But Jackson, let me redo this again. Number 1, Jackson has Texas at 10-2. He's got 4 teams at 10-2, but with Texas only losing the 1 conference game, thus gives them the number 1 seed. And then he's got a bunch of 6-2s down there with Florida, Georgia, Bama, which he will get into how he sorted that out.
Well, they're all going to the playoffs, so that's a plus.
Yes. Number 5, he's got Tennessee at 9-3. So me and Jackson both agree on Tennessee. We both agree on the Big Orange, so to speak. He's got Oklahoma taking an 8-4 jump. I'm not that high on him. Number 7, he's got LSU at 8-4. Disrespectful, Jack. I'm going to have words with you in a minute. But Jackson, how dare you disrespect the great BK? But I'm disgusted with you, Jack. I can't even speak to you right now. Anywho, at number 8, Texas A&M at 8-4. He's got South Carolina at 9 at 8-4 and 5-3 in conference. Ole Miss at 10 at 8-4 and 4-4. Arkansas at 11 at 6-6. Missouri taking a bit of a step back, according to Jack as well. And Auburn going to make a bowl game. Good for you, Auburn. Vandy's going to make a bowl game at 14. And Kentucky and Mississippi State down there being the bottom feeders of the SEC. Poor cats and dogs. And in his title game, he's got Texas over Florida. So
here's why.
Hold on, Jack, real fast. Just a refresher for anybody coming in. I've got Texas over LSU. Jack has got Texas over Florida. And Jack's going to explain how he came to that because you may see this cluster muck here. Jack, take it away, good buddy.
Well, I've got Florida losing to LSU and Ole Miss during the regular season. And I love that. And I've got Georgia losing to Florida and Texas, which kind of cost Georgia's spot the ACC title game. And I've got Alabama losing to South Carolina and Georgia. But this is where the tiebreaker comes in. It's the wins, the strength of wins, head to head amongst the tied teams. And there's going to be like a random draw, of course. So it's like I'm looking at the rules for 3 or more team tie, head to head among all tied teams. If one team has a better record against all other tied teams, that team is ranked highest. Record versus common opponents. If records are still tied, teams' records against common opponents are compared. If we're not at 2 teams, but we're looking at a random draw. If tie's still not broken, a random draw will be happening. And you've got the winning percentage against the highest placed common conference opponent in the standings. Now, we're looking at Florida, right? Who did they beat in the regular season, in my view? Well, I've got them beating Texas, got them beating Georgia. And what really clinches that spot in the SEC title game in the tiebreaker is beating Tennessee. Now, let's get to Georgia. They've got that win over Bama. They beat Kentucky, Auburn, and Ole Miss. They lose to Florida and Texas. They beat Mississippi State. I mean, let's be real. You're supposed to. And we've got Alabama. They lose to Georgia, in my opinion. They beat Vandy, they beat Missouri, they beat Tennessee. They beat LSU, Oklahoma, and Auburn. But they lose South Carolina after they play Tennessee. So we look at the tiebreakers, and it's all about who beat the highest opponents. And that was Florida. Florida beats Texas and Georgia in the regular season. And we've got Texas, Florida in an SEC title rematch. Texas beats Florida, and they get one of the top 4 spots.
I will say though, Jack, it's very bold of you to pick Florida to go to the playoffs, considering what's happening with DJ right now. I'm not saying it's a precursor of what's gonna happen. But Jackson, that's very bold of you, considering Jackson the way you thought of last year. Because Jackson, it seems like, and this is across the board with everybody, but it always seems like Florida is the new hype train. They've got people jumping on their train now. You remember last year, Jackson, when no one put any stock in Florida. I basically told everyone, put your stock in Florida now. They're going to be a good football team, and they're going to get 8 wins season. And everyone laughed at me and said, you're going to lose a lot of money if you do that. And what happened? They went 8-5 and won the bowl game. So, Jackson, what made you change your mind on them to go from
I got to make a clarification. I had them losing to LSU and Texas A&M. I did originally have them losing to Ole Miss, but I was like, you know what? They'll beat Ole Miss. But anyway.
So Jackson, apparently, B-Bean says, since Jackson's more of a Gator fan than I am right now, I feel compelled to give Jackson my Florida degree. Hey, there you go, Jackson. You graduated University of Florida. There you go, Jack. That's good for resume building, right there, Jackson. When you get that,
and we want to give a shout out to Doreen for sharing this live stream. We appreciate her for telling everybody to tune in to what we're doing right here on this live stream tonight. Thank you so much to Doreen for telling everybody to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
And check her out on the Ladies of College Football Sunday nights on The Voice College Football, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, exactly. What Jackson said. And Troy V says, Ellis, who is Jackson's favorite team? Exactly. And B Bean says, I love the Austin Jackson friendship, especially when they pretend to argue. I mean, me and Jackson have had some arguments on air. Then off air, we're kind of just laughing about it. And it's basically been over LSU. Like, literally, that's how they all start, over LSU. But, looking at this, though, Jackson, Oklahoma is one that jumps off the page for me. You got them going 8 and
Okay.
4. I think a lot of people would say that's a big choice on your part. If Oklahoma does go 8 and 4, does that save Brent Venables' job?
Oh, you should see where Bill still has him. He's got him tied fourth in the SEC.
Okay, that's a
I
little
mean,
too high. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
well, I'll be honest. Like, I trust a lot of what Bill still has to say, and he's usually been right on the most improved teams. And matter of fact, he's got Oklahoma as the number one surprise team for 2025. So that was like enough for me to kind of go, he usually has a pretty good track record of getting it right on surprise teams. So I'm gonna go
Mm-hmm.
with Phil on this one and put a little stock of trust on Oklahoma. They could do better than 8 and 4. I get that they're a big unknown, but I
Mm-hmm.
do have them lose to Michigan, Auburn. I do have them
Uh-huh.
lose to Texas, unfortunately. Got them losing to Bama, but I've got them winning against everybody else. I think they
Mm-hmm.
could get done against South Carolina, Ole Miss. They
Mm-hmm.
somehow get it done against Tennessee. Yeah, they're gonna make some magic on that one.
Mm-hmm. So Jackson, you said you had a few questions on my end. So out of my rankings, what would you like to know? How I got to where I got to? What's the team that's sticking out to you?
Everybody that you got 9 and 3.
Okay. So that would be Texas, Bama, Georgia, Tennessee. So
Oh, I won't forget Lucas. That's for sure. Brett Cia of Pit Sits Previews. He's got Oklahoma at 7 and 5.
I got them 6 and 6. So here's the thing: we're not that far off on that one. Okay, so
That was fired.
but to your point though, Jackson, Texas, I got it 9 and 3. Obviously, I have them winning the SEC, like I said, over LSU. I got them losing to. I got them losing to Georgia, and I've got them losing to Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout or Red River Rivalry. But the reason why Georgia doesn't come into play here is because Georgia loses 3 conference games. And obviously, I have Texas losing to Ohio State. Bama, I have them losing currently as we sit tonight. I have Bama losing to. I have Bama losing at Auburn. I do think Auburn sneaks. I think this is the year Auburn gets you, Jackson. I hate to admit it, but I think it's going to happen. I think Auburn gets you. I think, and these were 2 ones I bounced on back and forth, but I do think there is a world, Jackson, where Missouri gets you, especially now that they're going to be healthy. Now they don't have the roster they once did, but I could see Missouri as well. And then the other game Jackson is I've kind of flipped on it, but I do see y'all losing another one of them games. Haven't quite figured out what that third one is, but I know Bama's going to lose 3 in there somewhere. Bean says Missouri. Here's the thing. This isn't the Bama. Here, when I'm thinking, here's the thing. I understand people see Alabama and think think Missouri, and they think, oh, this is yada yada yada. But here's the thing. This is not your mama's Alabama anymore. This isn't the almighty let's fear Bama anymore. Bama showed that last year. They're very vulnerable at times. This is no longer let's be scared of Bama. And Missouri last year was a very banged up team. And even though, and they're going at Mizzou this year. And for me, that is one of them games, especially if they put a beat down on Vandy, Bama could be feeling themselves. We just went to Georgia and won like I have them. And then we put Vandy's foot in the ground. That could be a letdown moment. I'm sorry, but I could see that being a letdown moment. Without Nick Saban there, it's hard for me to saying that they're a fear team. It's no teams are now looking at it being like, okay, Coach Saban's not there anymore. You're just Alabama. Nick Saban instilled that fear in people. Like, Jackson, would you agree with me on that? That's why most teams were scared of him.
I think Alabama can still put that fear in people.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is another good one. Bean pulling up schedule. As always, Bean doing a great job with that. Obviously, looking at the schedule, I mean, obviously LSU. I do have LSU losing that game right now, but it's a very possibility. Oklahoma, if it last year, my two for sure that I know that Missouri and Auburn, those are the two I'm kind of like, Bama's going to lose those two. Watch what happens. Watch what happens. And that's how I got to that. And then Georgia, Tennessee. And B Bean says Lenore Stellar probably has a better chance than Mizzou to beat Bama. I don't know. I just think
John Larson Bloomer, shout out to him. That's first time comment from this guy. He's got Texas #1. Thank you for tuning in, John Larson.
Yes, exactly. Thank you as always, and for everyone for tuning in. And it's great that you're here on this late night. We go late into the night, so to speak. But I do have Texas winning the SEC, John, so you're going to like that. And Jackson does as well. So we do believe in the Longhorns. Hook them. We just have them finishing different. But, I mean, here's the thing, Jackson. And another thing is, Georgia, Tennessee, it's early in the year, right? There's a possibility. But I just think Georgia, they just have Tennessee's number. To me, Georgia's going to win that game. He says, and Dave Walensky says, I wouldn't be surprised if Kentucky loses to Toledo. Well, actually, Dave, I've got Kentucky going 7-5. I know people. This is my Florida this year. I'm putting stock in the Cats, even though they're our rivals, and I should want them to do bad. But like Jackson, it's kind of one of them for me. It's another year where the SEC beats one another up. And it just basically comes down to who wins where and who gets who at the right time. And that's how I kind of came to this. Bama's going to win all their non-cons. I think Wisconsin's going to give them a dogfight, though. I do want to say that. Because I know people think Wisconsin's bad, but I could see that being a dogfight. That being something like a 27-17 type victory for Bama. Like where Bama wins by 10, but it doesn't feel like they won by 10. One of them type games. But here's my thing, Jackson. Is there any other team that's popping off the page to you that you want to know my mindset on?
I take it that you got Sam Pittman fired after 2025 or forced to retire for where you got Arkansas going.
Yeah,
no, that's about it, really. It's all good.
Here's the thing with Arkansas, Jackson. And Dave Lindsay says they're not going into Tuscaloosa and giving them a game. Once again, like I said, I'm known for the outside the box picks. When you watch me and Jackson, anybody that's known us long enough, Jackson's more of your inside the box. I go with the outside the box kind of picks. And sometimes they backfire on me and sometimes they don't. And that might be one that it does. But I just feel like, especially with Bama playing at Florida State week 1, I feel like if they dominate that game like everyone thinks they should, and Dog DC Auburn at 2-6 is savage, but probably accurate. Yeah, I got them 2-6 in conference. I don't have much hope for them other than them to upset Bama. Because Auburn's due for one. They've been very unlucky these last couple years. Like they're due for one against Bama. and Dog in DC says, "Where's the glasses guy?" He's currently in bed. He's sleeping. He's taking a siesta. He's taking a night off. Me and Jackson are handling this. Ain't that right, Jackson?
This one at least. But you'll see
Exactly.
the glasses guy Jeffrey and myself on the Alabama call-in show tomorrow night.
Exactly. But yeah, Jackson, Arkansas, Jackson. I just don't like where they're going. Like the offensive line issues have been creeping up on them in spring practice. I've heard some bad things about that. How they're not protecting Taylor Green, and in the running back situation is kind of iffy. I just don't like where it's going in Fayetteville. And they got to play Notre Dame too out of conference. I don't think that's a real. This isn't one of them. This isn't one of them years for Sam Pittman, and this could be the year he gets fired. But I will say this though, Jackson. One thing that sparked my interest over here on your end, and I'm kind of curious. So, explain to me here, Jackson. LSU. I'm gonna go here with you because it's my routine thing. You have LSU and Oklahoma both at 8-4. Please explain to me your thinking, good buddy, because LSU by a lot of people, including myself, are predicted to win the SEC. Well, or be in the SEC title game, or predicted to win it is a better way to say it, or possibly could win the whole thing. But you have them tied with a pedestrian to mediocrity that is Oklahoma, who is hanging on by a thread with Brent Venables. So kind of explain to me, Jack, why do you see LSU in this state?
Well, they can't beat Ole Miss on the road.
Okay.
They had a hard time with beating Bama last
Okay.
year. I don't see it getting better for them.
Okay.
I honestly think Oklahoma can get them on rivalry week. That's what I think happens in conference play, but I don't think they're going to get. I don't think they're getting Clemson.
And here's the thing, Jack. But do you really think that they're going to be tied with Oklahoma? These are your picks, and I respect your opinion. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like when I see that, I understand Oklahoma's a rich tradition of a school, and they have a great program. But these last couple years, I just can't see a world where Oklahoma and LSU are in the same conversation. I just don't see it on paper right now. And I mean that with all due respect to you, Jackson. That's why I'm trying to dig in that brain of yours. Like you, so you think Oklahoma can beat LSU
This season? Yeah, because it's
so
at Norman, Oklahoma.
I understand that, but you're really high on John Mateer, aren't you, Jackson?
I like where Ben Arbuckle's going to have that offense rolling.
And Dog in DC says LSU's success is all predicated on their defense, and that seems to be the wild card. That's the thing too. When I looked at LSU, that's what scares me. I think their offense is fine. Their offense is always. It's the defense. Defense. And Dave Winston says, "Why do you think that LSU is so good?" I would pick Texas A&M before I'd pick LSU. Here's the thing, Dave, and the reason why I think LSU is so good is because they've got a top 10 head coach in Brian Kelly. They've got a top 10 offense and a top 5 quarterback, potentially Nussmeier. They've got one of the best running games in football. And they have one of the two best defensive rush ends in D tackle and D end, both predicted to be All-Americans as well. And what's that, Jackson?
Riley is asking that he assumes that I think Lagway is healthy with these predictions. Well, I think he's going to be healthy throughout the second half of the season. That's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe. I think Florida will have a bit of a slow start the first 3 weeks, obviously, but then Miami is going to find a way to blow it against Florida. And then
And
that's where we're really going to see some magic. I think Florida's going to chill out during their bye week, and they're going to really put a scare in Texas.
hmm and I've got LSU at 7-5, Riley. And I tried to, like Jackson said, we try to think everyone's going to be healthy, but you also do have to take into account injuries as well. And I think that's what kind of hindered me on that. But to keep answering Dave's point here, is LSU has built a national championship roster. I really like what they've built, in my opinion, Dave. And that's why I'm so high on LSU. Now, when we get in the season, I may eat those words. And that's okay. I'm willing to do that. Like I tell Jackson all the time, if I'm wrong, I will be the first to admit I'm wrong. And I have no problem doing that. And B being asked is who's the offensive mind in Oklahoma this year? That would be Ben Arbuckle, right, Jackson?
He's the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma this year.
Well, B Bean's asking who's the offensive minded at Oklahoma this year.
Yeah.
Let me ask the chat real fast. If what Jackson has, is there a world where you guys can see LSU and Oklahoma finishing the same at 8-4 and 5-3, or do you see more of my prediction for LSU Oklahoma of Oklahoma being 6-6, 3-5, and I have LSU 10-2 and 6-2? Which could you likely see more happening, my prediction or Jackson's? Because I kind of want to get a read on where everyone thinks on this. Because oh no, Durian, why do you always got to start trouble? He says I find it funny that Austin was saying Kentucky was going 8-4, and then when the rubber meets the road, he picks them going 7-5. Well, I came back down to earth just a hair. I mean, just a hair. I mean, I still have y'all going bowling, but kind of looking at the schedule, I'm like, okay, maybe a little too much. A little too much. But I still have y'all making a bowl and being a decent SEC team. And Babine says 6-6 is more believable to me. And John Larson says Oklahoma loses. He says, I don't trust Jim Kelly. He always finds a way to choke in the big games. Just ask any Notre Dame fan.
I think he meant Brian Kelly.
I was very saying. And Riley asked, do you think the Irish beat A&M in Arkansas? Well, funny enough, Jackson, that's actually, well, I won't spoil it, but Jackson, I'll let you take this question first.
I've actually got Notre Dame getting upset by Arkansas because, to tell you the truth, I was thinking about picking either Boise State or Arkansas. I was like, you know what? I'll go with Arkansas for this one. Because, like, Notre Dame so far under Marcus Freeman, they've won the big games. They've lost that one game they shouldn't have. Case in point, Northern Illinois last season. 2022, they lost to Marshall. They lost to Stanford. I feel like Arkansas is that one game they shouldn't lose this year.
Case in point. I have Notre Dame winning both. I do think, though, A&M could pose a legit threat to Notre Dame. But the game was at A&M last year. That was their best chance, in my opinion. So this year being in South Bend, I think Notre Dame takes it. It's another one of them grind it out. I think it'll be like 21-17 type game. And Notre Dame wins at home because that's how Notre Dame likes to win a lot of times. I think if A&M was going to win last year, would have been it. And Riley says, but I think that they win both. I agree. I'm with you. I think they win both as well. And B Bean says, interesting point, Jackson. That game is at Arkansas. And Dave Walensky says Boise State could beat Notre Dame. That was my upset, Dave. That was my upset. I said Boise's going to upset Notre Dame. And I got killed for that. I'm not the only I'm not the only one for that, Jackson. Me and Dave, see, we think alike. See, Jack, we're on the same wavelength. You got the Louisville, Minnesota guy. You got the connection here, even though the Louisville and Minnesota never play one another. We got the Miniville connection going here. But I will say though, that's a good point though, Dave. So looking at our predictions here, Jackson, Texas over LSU, and you've got Texas over Florida. Right now, as we sit here tonight, if you were to give me a percentage, Jackson, what's your percentage on a confidence level that this is going to happen? That this is the game we're going to see in Atlanta?
About like a 70 to 75%.
Okay,
But if DJ Lagway is becoming Jalen Daniels, then that percentage gets way low.
I would say for me, I'm 90% confident in my title game. I think this is the game we're going to see in Atlanta. I'm 90%. I'm pretty confident. This is the most confident I've been on any prediction so far. As crazy as it is, but I will say though, Jackson, we talk about it every stream, and we're going to talk about it with the SEC. Who are those surprise teams? Those teams that no one expects, no one's thinking about. Who's gonna?
Oklahoma.
It's for you. It's Oklahoma. For me, I think it's Kentucky. They're going to be the one that jumps up on everybody, like I have them in my predictions here. They're going to be my most surprising because I have belief in Mark Stoops, and I know as the rival school. Oh my gosh, Dave, we don't talk about that, okay, Dave? Listen, I like you, Dave, but we didn't win that game, and I ain't never forgot it, Dave. Just for that, Dave, you're lucky. I like you. See, I try to be civil, but Dave over here bringing up ancient history. Anywho, and Riley asked, how many playoff teams does the SEC?
4.
I say 5. I got 5 for me. Jackson's got
9 and 3 teams right now.
I mean, I say 5 because here's the thing, Jackson. Now that we're going to straight seeding, there's a good chance they get 5. As much as I don't like saying that, and if Darrell's still here, he might back me up on that. We almost had 5 last year, and depending on who beats who, Jackson, I could see a combination of this right here. These 5 right here, not A&M. These 5 right here that I have could be the 5 in the playoffs. You've just got the 4. Now, Jackson, you don't think Tennessee's a playoff team, correct?
I don't think so.
Okay.
They can't win in Gainesville or Tuscaloosa. And until they can, they're a playoff team.
So if they win in Gainesville or Tuscaloosa, does that change your mind any?
If they can win in both of those places, then it's good for them. If they can win in one of them, that means Josh Heupel's really going.
Okay. And B Bean says Anthony Richards was hurt a lot. I see Lagway like him. Oh. See, here's the thing, Bean. The thing about Anthony Richardson is when the dude was healthy, he was a baller. But then the problem is, too, also, I'm hyping him up, and then I'm going to bring him back down. Dude couldn't hit a broadside of the barn a lot of times either. Like, literally. I was watching the Kentucky game a couple years ago, and he threw a pick 6 to a Kentucky player 20 yards downfield. There was no Florida player in sight, and he throws it right to him. Pick 6. Cats go up, I think, by 14, and Florida, just after that let the air out of that building because they were in the swamp that night. and just let the air out of the building. And I'm just like, where are you throwing that to? Are you just trying to chuck it up and say someone's down here? And it was just one Kentucky defender. It was almost like a punt that got returned for 6 points. You couldn't hit a broadside of the barn if he tried. But then the Utah game, and it's like, that's the Anthony Richardson that could have won the Heisman. That's what frustrates me. And Bean, maybe you could shed some light on this. What is it with Florida and picking these quarterbacks that either can't hit the broadside of the barn, don't have a good injury history, or just downright is inconsistent? Like, talk to me here, Bean. I mean, I know obviously Jackson thinks a lot of Florida, but like, what is this? Why can't Florida ever pick them another Tim Tebow or another?
Well,
Oh wow,
Flagway's been a really good thing going.
B Bean says Anthony Richardson have money on that Kentucky game. You know what? It wouldn't shock me. You don't like to think that they do that, but that wouldn't shock me. I mean,
I know Jeffrey talked about Nussmeier being overhyped, but this is nothing against Richardson, but I feel like he got massively overhyped. I mean, look at like the number of completions he had against Florida State 2022. I mean, yeah, like ESPN hyped him up to the point where everybody like talking about him, but he's not doing so well at the Colts.
and he's been injured too. Yeah. Well, the thing too is Jackson, and I will say this though, Jackson. Looking at this though, because I'm kind of looking at this, and we're talking about Florida. In my opinion, Jackson, and well, not my opinion. I don't know why I'm saying that like that tonight. But as an overall perspective, Jackson, if Florida goes 7-5, like I haven't predicted, or if they go 8-4, do you think, Jackson, the Florida fan base will be disappointed?
Oh, they go 7-5. They're disappointed.
Okay. And Dave asks, do both of you think that the SEC is going to get 4 teams in the playoffs? If not, who do you think is missing out of the top 4?
For me, look at who's number 5. That's who's missing out. Top 4 is automatically in the playoffs, and who's in the SEC title game is in the playoffs.
So for me, I've got 5 currently. I think Tennessee could be a playoff team. I think there's 5. But it's either I think Texas will be a lock. I think Georgia will be a lock. Those 2 are locks for me. And I think LSU will be a lock. And then it's Tennessee and Bama. If Bama beats Georgia, if Tennessee beats not Tennessee, if Bama beats Georgia, then it all depends on who Bama loses to. Because if Bama has 2, pardon my language, Jackson, cover your ears, piss poor losses to Vandy and Oklahoma, then the committee might leave them out again. But I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say 4. I'm going to say they get 4. And B Bean says, yes, very disappointed. I would imagine. And Burks is said, are you a Ravens fan also because of Lamar Jackson? Burks, I'm a Cowboys fan. I grew up a Cowboys fan. But I root for the Ravens for Lamar Jackson when the Cowboys aren't in the playoffs, which is quite often more than you think. So if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, I'll be happy. Like Jackson, he's got a player that he's a Derrick Henry guy because he's a Bama boy, but he's a Titans fan.
There we go. Well, Austin, anything more we got to add?
Not really. I mean, when you look at it, Jackson, I mean, overall, I mean, I think me and you mostly agree. I mean, there's not really the only one I think we might have is the Oklahoma LSU. I mean Mississippi State, Jackson. I mean, is there anything you'd like to say on that for yourself?
I just wish Mississippi State a lot of luck because they're going to need it. And Mark Stoops, his mind is going to be on the divorce that he's going through, from what I'm hearing about with his ex. So he's not going to be thinking about football, honestly. I mean, who is? I mean, if you're getting divorced and you're thinking about having to pay your lawyer and your ex-wife's lawyers,
Uh
you're not
huh.
going to be thinking about football. That I can guarantee.
And Dave says, "Sorry, Austin. I don't see anybody with a 9-3 record making the playoffs. I don't care how great your conference is. I here's the thing, Dave. I agree with you, but the problem is SEC biased, and I don't want to sound. I, I don't like it being that way, but we saw it with Bama, Florida State a couple years ago. It's drilled in my head. Like, and I don't care ACC versus SEC. I'm not trying to do all that. But even Jackson up here, who is a diehard, love Bama to death, he will even tell you that was highway robbery what happened a couple years ago. And he knows very well that was SEC bias. So I wouldn't put it past them to do that, to somehow sneak a 9-3 team in there, or Greg Sankey to have a lobbying session about this, or Paul Feinbaum calling the commissioner lobbying. And Jackson, do you not see that happening? Be honest with
Oh,
me.
that could happen. Yeah.
And Troy says, could be worse. You could be a Bears fan. Oh, poor Troy. Poor Troy. And B Bean says, I like Austin's fan history. Like how he also liked Colorado due to his grandparents. Yes. So, like I told you, Bean, that's how I became a Nuggets fan. My grandparents, they grew up in Colorado, right across, right in the Denver suburban area. So they're Broncos, Colorado, and Nuggets fan. I like Colorado for them. Like that's how I got the shirts and stuff. Like you can even ask Jackson when we first met. I even told him I'm like I like Colorado too, even though they suck. This was even before Coach Prime. He can even tell you that. And then when Coach Prime got on, I really got behind it. And then of course the Nuggets. That was the only thing that was on TV when my grandparents came to the house when we were watching NBA was Nuggets games. Like they didn't watch. They watched like of course the Lakers, Celtics, but like if everyone was Lakers, Celtics fans, it wouldn't be fun. But for me, that's I like Colorado. I got a soft spot for them because of family. But I will always be a Louisville fan first. So if Louisville and Colorado ever play in the playoffs, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry actually. It's Louisville all the way. My blood, I bleed blood red. I know some people say you bleed blue, but I bleed blood red. Red until the end. But I will say this though, like Jackson put in the comments, if you want to call in and talk about the SC predictions with us, you can as well. Make sure to keep it to 5 to 10 minutes as well, and keep it within reason. Don't bring any religion or politics into it, and challenge the predictions, but don't attack nobody. We don't like those kind of people. So if you're gonna attack somebody, stay your butt in the chat, okay? Or me and Jackson will boot you out like we're Sergeant Slaughter or Hacksaw Jim Duggan with the bat. Or better yet, Jackson will get his belt out and whip you with it. Like Jackson hasn't whipped anybody.
I ain't that mean. I'm mean, but I'm not that mean.
And neither Bama nor USC Junior got in last year at 9-3. That is true, but you also got to think of who they lost to as well. Like I said with Bama with the Vandy, Oklahoma. As my parents used to say, and I'm sure Jackson heard this a lot too, 2 wrongs don't make a right. Bama had 2 piss poor losses. Pardon my language. I normally don't do that. And the one Georgia loss, everyone was trying to predicate saying that made up for it. And the committee's like, no, Bama, you were bad. And you need to be punished. And even Jackson even was okay with it. Okay with it, though. But I will say this, though, Jackson. Looking at this, though, talking about the playoffs, Jackson, while we wait for people to call in if they would like, Jackson, I noticed looking at yours here, kind of interesting. You've got Missouri, Arkansas, Auburn, Vandy all kind of cluttered at 6-6. Talk about that. Take me through your
Well,
mind.
let's see, because I've got Arkansas getting some wins that they shouldn't get,
Uh-huh.
like Notre Dame, for example, in non-conference play. But I've got Missouri still beating Auburn. They'll win all their non-con games. They'll beat Mississippi State. And I look at the conference games for Arkansas. I feel like they're finally going to beat Missouri this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to beat Mississippi State. I think they can snag a win over Auburn. Auburn, I believe, will beat Kentucky and Oklahoma in conference play, but I feel like they can do a lot better than 6-6.
Okay.
And Vandy, they're going to get a win against Auburn, and they're going to win against Missouri. I think they can win all their non-con games, but something tells me they're going to do a lot better than that for some reason.
I mean, Jackson, here's the thing. I don't know if you saw it or not, but did you see where Diego Pavia said that he wants to bring a national championship to Vanderbilt? Did you see that?
That's never going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not joking, you guys. I'm not trying to get anybody riled up, but if I can find it, I will pull it up.
But he does believe in his teammates, so that's good. I mean, what, you want a quarterback to go, just another day?
Listen, I like the guy's moxie. I like it. But here's the thing. For him to say 7-5 wasn't good enough, we're gonna win the national championship. We need to win the national championship. I'm gonna bring it to Vandy. And then it's just like it's just like, listen, Diego, I like you. I like your moxie, but come on. You know darn good and well you ain't bringing no national title to Vanderbilt. Like, and no, that's not going to happen. That's like saying, and I'm sorry, Troy, if you're still here, but that's like saying you're going to bring a Super Bowl back to the Bears. Like, it's going to be another 20, 30 years for that happens. Like I'm just more of like, listen, I admire the moxie and confidence, but like, slowly roll, calm down. Try getting an 8-4 season first, and then we'll talk.
Yeah. Well, Bart, we saw you were calling in, so come on back when you get a chance. And everybody wants to call in, come on in.
Come on in. The water's fine. And if nobody wants to call in, that's fine too. That's fine too. No hard feelings. Me and Jackson will just ramble for about 5 more minutes here, if nobody else. But Jackson, what other topics should we touch on tonight that maybe we've missed that people would like to hear?
For the world of the SEC?
Oh, I got to pull up this comment. Diego might be on crack though. What do you think, Jack? Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, at least he's not Shannon Sharps. I mean, at least Diego Pavia can keep his hands to himself.
Oh Lord! But we do have a caller, Jackson. He's a great friend of the show. We love hearing this man's insight, and he's
What?
Come
on. Hold on.
He's one of the.
Apparently, it said blocked. It was like, good grief.
One
Thank
of the
you
very.
for letting me know, Berts. I did not see that. How you doing tonight, Dave?
Worse. I'm homesick.
I'm sorry to hear that, Dave. I mean, hopefully you get home soon.
Well, I'm already home. I'm sick.
Oh, okay, sick. Okay, see me not thinking, but let me ask you, Dave, since I got you here. You were talking about the 9-3. Talk me through that, Dave. Do you think what was your mindset You think it's going to be impossible for that to happen, or I kind of want to
I
hear your
don't.
take on it.
I don't think it's impossible for it to happen. It's just that with 12 teams in the Big Ten, I feel is going to be a lot better than the SEC,
Hmm.
and like now the other like Big 12 and the ACC is going to have a couple teams that are going to be 10-2. Hey, look, if Bama didn't make it last year, I don't think anyone's going to make it unless it's a really poor year for like everybody. Like if you have a lot of 10-2 teams and a lot of
Mhm.
9-3 teams.
I understand that, and I get your point. And I'm like you, Dave. I'm tired, sick and tired of the SEC. This SEC that I'm with you. They're just like the SEC, it's that and the other. We sit.
You're breaking up, Austin. Is it me or is it you? Austin?
Yeah, what is going on, Austin? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yikes. Well, while we check on Austin's situation right quick, let's continue the conversation.
Okay. Well, I really looked at you guys' predictions, and there's a lot of like I agree with you guys. The SEC is going to have games where they're just going to beat up on each other, and I really feel that um, because of that, you're going to have a couple teams just miss the playoffs. Like if let's just say that Texas A&M ends up winning against Texas, and or like let's say like we have like Vandy, well, even worse, Vandy beating Bama again, which will not happen. If that happens, then that's crazy. I don't even know if Vandy plays um, Alabama this year.
Here's the thing, Dave. I don't know. Can y'all hear me now? Do I
Loud and
sound better?
clear.
Yeah.
Sound better.
Okay, good. It's raining here, so that might have been part of it. But here's the thing, Dave. If Alabama loses to Vanderbilt again, that they just need to look in the mirror and go soul searching. Because if you lose to Vandy twice in Tuscaloosa, you want to talk about embarrassment. That's embarrassment. I don't care what anybody tells you. That would be like Ohio State losing to who's a good team comparison now? Who's the Vandy of the Big Ten, Dave?
Oh, Northwestern by
Would it be
far. It's always been
yeah,
Northwestern.
that would be like Ohio State losing to Northwestern back-to-back years. That would just be embarrassing and utter shame if that would happen. But to your point, though, I don't think it's going to happen. And if it does, Jackson, I feel sorry for you because that would just be an utter embarrassment.
Yeah, where did Jackson go? Because he's off on my phone.
Uh-oh. I'm here.
All right. I just can't see you. You're all black right now.
I was
Steven
just
says, don't
responding
start
in the chat.
on my Buckeyes. Listen, Steven, I mean that with all due respect because Ohio State is feared and respected. It's like Bama is. I wasn't taking any shots. I was just trying to elaborate on Dave's point of what he meant. Go ahead, though, Dave.
Yeah. I look at it right now, and I'm just like, you guys have like a lot of like 9-3, 8-4 teams, and I'm like how much of how tight is everybody right now in your opinion in the SEC? Can anybody beat anybody in the SEC this year? There's not really any like other than like Mississippi State, because I think Mississippi State is awful.
See, here's the thing with that, and Jackson. Here's the thing: we saw it last year, but I know, like Kentucky, a lot of people are down on Kentucky. But like Kentucky could easily steal a game from somebody that we don't think they should. They almost did against Georgia last year. So to your point, Dave, I would say yeah, it could happen. I could see somebody winning a game they shouldn't. I could see, and this is just honestly, I could see LSU as much as they're hyped on. They could lose a game that they shouldn't as well. Like
Easily. Brian Kelly is
it's one of
notorious
them.
for losing like big games.
I mean, Texas, like they're not as unbeatable as people think they are. I could see someone upsetting Texas. I don't think it's going to happen, but I could see it if they catch them at the right time.
A&M could, but I don't know if they're going to win in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, that for me, if A&M was going to beat them, it would have been last year. And to this point here, same schedule as last year, switch home and away, which that makes a big difference. People don't realize this, and Dave, you could speak to this, and so could Jackson. Sometimes that makes a huge, huge difference because if you catch an opponent, you would rather have your toughest games at home and then instead of or if you get the buys at the right time. People don't realize if you have a late season buy, that's a blessing a lot of times. Like it could work in your favor because let's just say Jackson, when is Bama's bye? Their first one. Is it before
Well, we got
Georgia
it
or
in
after?
we got it before Georgia, week 4, and we've got it after South
Okay.
Carolina.
Now, here's a
So,
question for
go ahead,
Oh,
Dave.
we got an LSU man tonight from Johnson.
Yes. Yes. See, Jackson, he knows what's up. Like, see, Jackson, finally I've got someone to support me against your LSU bias. I'm sorry, Dave. Bad manners. Go ahead.
gosh, I was thinking about what was it? God, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Just lost. I God, I was thinking. What was I thinking of? Oh, I was going to ask Jackson. This is when do you think the SEC is going to have a 9-game conference schedule?
That part I don't know because like if the SEC's not having it now, I don't think it's gonna be before the end of this decade. But it's like I'm kind of not too crazy about the 9 game schedules and everybody in all college football because then that means not everybody's gonna be able to play the really good non-con games. Just means they're being slowly faded away.
Yeah, but I mean, as a Big Ten fan, every time I look at like Bama's schedule and I see near the end of the year, it's the "What's the matter, you" school before you guys play Auburn. You guys always put that 1 AA school in your non-conference, and it's like, do you guys really have to do this? You guys could easily do 9. Can you hear me, Jackson?
Loud and clear.
All right. I mean, that's the way I see it as. I would think the SEC is very capable of doing 9. They're big enough to do 9. They should be doing 9. I know a lot of teams are trying to do sort of an Indiana thing too, which I also don't agree with. I like to have everybody at least play one, uh, Power Four team in their non-conference schedule before they go into the conference.
I, and here's an interesting point too, Dave. And Steven says I have the Dogs winning the SEC, which that's to a lot of people that's not too far of an out there pick. He says teams feared DeBoer but feared Saban. Alabama will be searching for a coach by season ends. Now, what do you think about that, Jackson and Dave? And Dave, you can also get in on this too, because to a certain extent, Minnesota has had this for years now, where everyone 1 minute they're like, let's roll the boat, and the next minute they're like, get out. We don't want you. You suck. You lost to Iowa. Go. What do you guys think?
Saban's different than PJ right now. The expectations at Minnesota are different than the expectations at Alabama. I think Saban was such a great coach for Bama. And for him just to like say, hey, I'm out. And it's mostly because he got sick and tired of the new rules and the NIL stuff. If you don't want to, if you can't keep your kids, that your future, then well, you can't be totally mad, because the Nick Saban always gets like high recruits, high everything. It's way different than like what PJ has to get through. I mean, I have to argue with like, North Dakota State fans, and some of them think that they're already like coming into Minnesota and getting the good high school recruits here. Like they're getting a couple kids, but they're not getting like a whole bunch. And I would have to say like the best one that's doing like in-state recruiting around our area lately is Iowa State. Iowa State has done very well with their program. And if they can, keep on doing what they're doing, I wouldn't be surprised if Iowa State makes the playoffs maybe next year. But then again, I also think that the Big 12 is a toss-up. It's an absolute toss-up.
And Hummus Hero brings up a great point, Dave. And this is interesting because I think you'll get in line with this too, Dave. Like I know Jackson will, but he says they should move to 10-game conference schedule to play two major conference opponents / non-con and eliminate all this G6 FCS nonsense. Jackson, I know you have been saying this almost from the start. I believe, Dave, you have as well. If I'm correct, right? You would be in line for this. Get rid of that nonsense.
In some ways, yes, I kind of do. I kind of look at the idea, if we ever go to 16, I think it's time to basically have another like lower division for like the MAC and the G5 schools, and they have them have their own tournament, and have the Big Ten. I'm sorry, like the Power Four schools have their own tournament. I can easily see like you could have the SEC's four best make the tournament, the Big Ten's four best make the tournament, the ACC's four best make the tournament, and the Big 12's four best make the tournament, and then kind of like match them up by ranking.
I could get with that. That's a good idea, Dave. Like have 4, 4, 4, 4, and then like you said, have the conference champions get the higher seeds because they won their conference and that's the reward. But then rank everybody based on their schedules and take into metrics. And I know Darrell has brought this up, but an AQ like they do for baseball and college basketball, I think that would be great in college football. Because let's just say a Minnesota, they could be a quad 3 victory for an Ohio State. And the committee could look at that and say, well, you did beat Minnesota, but that was a quad 3 win. Michigan would be a quad one. Like, would you all be behind that? What Daryl's suggesting, doing quads.
Yes, in some ways, yes. We have like 4 teams. Like I said, I rather like and then, yeah, to see how high the rankings are. Yes, you know, like I said, it makes it to have 4 teams battle it out. Now I do believe that where the college football is going, and you're not going to see all the same 4 teams all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Do think the way the NIL and in the way that the Alabama will lose kids in the transfer portal. Ohio State will lose kids in the transfer portal. These kids want to play now. They don't want to wait 2-3 years and be the next guy up anymore. It's all about now. And if you can get a kid that wants to play now, that's good enough to play on, let's say, a Minnesota or an Iowa, or let's say even a Kentucky or a South Carolina, they they have a place to play, and they get to prove themselves. And I know the blue bloods are always going to be the blue bloods, but there's ways of doing this, and I feel eventually we're going to have to start having like caps on how much you can pay a player, because some of these players are playing for ridiculous prices. It's crazy.
Yes. Well, that's the thing too that makes this interesting, is because here's the thing. Let's say, for example, Ryan Williams. We'll use Bama for this. He's probably getting paid. Oh, what would you say, about 10 million? Would probably be what he's probably making at Bama. Would that be about fair to say, Jackson? About 10 million? I mean, whereas and the thing is too, like say Bama and Minnesota were in a recruiting battle for him. Like, and this is no offense at you, Dave, because Louisville would have to do the same thing because we're kind of on the same level. You would have to give almost all your NIL salary cap just to even get him to consider. Whereas Bama could be like, here's 5 million, but guess what? We've got
Yes,
the pedigree to go with it.
yes,
And that's ridiculous.
that's the problem. When I first thought that what was going to happen, that these pairs would be played, I didn't think it would be, in the millions. I thought, it would be, I literally thought at one time that this was just they get paid a little bit and they can get more money for, let's say for EA Sports. If they go on EA Sports, they get their name, image, and likeness on that, and then they get to keep that money. They can help out with charities, maybe if they're signing. Remember who was the Johnny Manziel got in huge trouble for signing footballs.
Yeah, I believe it was it was Johnny, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing too, Dave. I'm like with you. I think it, like when I originally heard this, I thought this is good. The kids are going to get their money. If they want to be in commercials, great. Like say a kid wants to be in a Subway commercial. Subway's like, hey, we'll pay you da 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 to promote our new sub, an Italian footlong, $5. And people will be like, oh, you see that guy from Minnesota? He's promoting this. He's telling us this is a good product. And the more they buy, the revenue and everything. But I'm like you. This is getting to the point, Dave, where we're getting to the NFL and NBA level type money, where players are getting
it's crazy.
10, 20, 30 million just to be on a magazine cover. And it's just like, listen, I'm all for you getting your money, but that's a little too much. Like, you're still kids. You're a young adult.
Yeah, exactly. What's the running back from Minnesota? What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Oh, he's
The Vikings or your Gophers?
Gophers.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, Dave. Oh,
It's,
oh.
it's something with a T. I can't think of it right now. Why can I not think of it? Well, anyways,
Running back.
the running back from Minnesota,
Darius
Mhm.
Darius Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor.
Darius
Okay.
Taylor. Darius Taylor is driving a Ferrari.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That is.
Like, I mean, here's the thing, David. And it's like, is that all it takes is to get someone to come to your program? Be like, just buy them a fancy car to whip around?
Hey, it almost it worked for Eric Dickerson.
And Steven says, why isn't
And
there the
Texas
same amount of
A&M,
range?
and Texas A&M didn't get anything out of that. They just gave him a car.
Yeah, Jimbo's just like, here's a car. And then be like, we're still going to go 8-4. But Steven says, why isn't there they're the same amount of range for these coaches making millions? See, that's a whole nother issue too, because then you get into the argument of, oh, well, they're grown adults. They should be able to this. They have a more proven track record. Whereas these kids, and here's the thing, with a freshman, I understand the people's argument of saying, well, you don't have a proven track record, but we know you're a phenom. We know Bryce Underwood, right? He was one of them. Like, he originally committed to LSU, and then Michigan dangled the almighty dollar at him, and he changed his mind for it. And it's just how it is. Even though we have no clue, he could be the worst quarterback this year, Dave. And I know we have our Michigan people here, and it's no shot, but we have no clue. He could either be one of the best to ever play in a Michigan uniform, or he could be one of the worst. We just have we just don't have any idea.
And he also can go to 4 different schools before he goes to the NFL.
Exactly. Because Michigan could be like, oh, no, you're not what we thought. Here, Minnesota, see if you can do something with him, or Iowa. And which,
that's exactly how
in that case, yeah, Michigan will be like, here, Iowa, listen, you have no offense anyway, so you can't ruin him no worse.
God, I remember there was this defensive guy that got very little playing time at Minnesota, but he transferred. He got very little playing time at North Carolina, transferred to Minnesota, complained, got very little playing time somewhere else, complained, went to Division I AA, got his playing time, graduated, didn't even get into the NFL. I mean, maybe sometimes you have to realize maybe you're not as good as you think you are.
Well, it's just like, and I don't like doing this, but Will Levis, right? All we heard from him is he's the next generational quarterback. He's going to be number 1 overall. He's this, he's that. And it was just like, then he gets taken later on. And then as of right now, he is not having a very good pro career, Dave. And it's just like, and I don't wish these on anybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful career, because they are people too. But it's just like, if you're going to be cocky and confident, you need to back it up. That's my thing. Like, if PJ Fleck was to come out right now and say Minnesota's going 10-2, we've got a 10-2 roster, and they go 6-6, we're all going to look at him and be like, okay, why weren't you all 10-2 this year? Like, kind of like to that point. It's just like, sometimes money goes to people's heads, Dave. I think that's what starts it all, is they get paid the dollar and think, okay, I've got all this money. Guess what? My team's going to win this many games. And it's just like, not going to happen. Like you said, Dave, A&M's a perfect example of that. – Jimbo had the number 1 recruiting class and still went 8-4.
Well, we'll see how he builds up that. He's still Jimbo. He's still was that last year, year before?
I
Last
believe
year,
that
last year he got the number one recruiting class, and they still went 8-4. Well, they how many of those kids stayed at A&M after that season?
Yeah.
not many. I think that they had one of the biggest roster overhauls in recent memory because I remember it was a big talking point on a lot of the college football shows.
See,
The
that's the problem. Those kids want to play right now. They don't want to wait their turn, or they don't want to put the much effort to beat the top guy.
uh-huh. Well, the thing too is, Dave, it's just so hard to keep kids. And the thing about it is Dave, is the thing about it is you can have a national championship roster and come this close to winning the whole thing, and your roster could be flipped on its head like that. And it's just like, and you can convince them all you want, be like, we were this close, we were this close. If we add one more piece, and the players will be like, I want money. I don't care about that. And it's just like, excuse me, I would. I'm not going to speak for you or Jackson or the chat, but I would rather have a national championship than make that kind of money, because you win a national championship, you're forever immortalized in history. Like, you will be remembered by everyone. The fame and fortune will come with that. Like, that's where my mindset goes, but that's not how these kids think, and it's kind of sad, Dave, to be honest with you, because I remember the days players used to kill themselves, would break a foot or something and still want to trot out there because they want that ultimate prize. Now it's just, I want $10 million, I want 15 million. That's all I care about.
I remember when seniors used to play bowl games.
Yes, that. Like, I remember that too, Dave. I remember when the New Year's Six used to mean something before everyone started opting out. Like, I remember when Florida played Louisville, that was one of the most talked about non-national title games, and everybody played in that game, except if you were hurt, obviously. And it's just like, I remember, Dave, one year when Minnesota and I believe it was, who was it you all played? Everybody was on that field. This was 2018, I think it was.
2019 when we played Auburn, a very good Auburn team.
Yeah, 19. The 19 was it?
It was
Yeah,
the
it was 19. Yeah.
Outback Bowl 2019 or 2020 the slash 2019.
That which that was a very good game too, Dave. I actually sat and watched that whole thing. But there was a time when everybody would play, and it was just like, and you mentioned Saban earlier. You remember the Sugar Bowl against Kansas State when Will Anderson and Bryce Young and all of his starters played that game. And Nick Saban was that type of guy, and we'll never have another one of them. But he was that type of coach. If you're not hurt, your butt's going out on that field. I don't care if you're number one pick or not. Your butt's going out on that field.
Yeah.
And they did. He instilled that
Now, I don't blame it.
players.
No, I don't blame a kid nowadays if it's like not a power bowl game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just find it weird when you get these kids that they get closer, like they play in the Cotton Bowl or they're playing in the Fiesta Bowl and they don't want to play or the Rose Bowl and they don't want to play. I'm like, I would kill to play in these bowl games.
Exactly. Like, and that's the thing. Like, the history, that's like, for me to say I played on the same field that Reggie Bush played on, or that these great players stepped on, and it's just like, and you don't want to be a part of that history.
Yeah.
And that's just sad. I'm kind of with you, Dave. I'm like, you don't care to want to play in Jerry's world, even though everyone makes fun of Jerry. That's still Cowboy Stadium. You play on that field, that's a big accomplishment. Because Jerry's world is one of biggest stadiums in history, and you play in that, that's a big accomplishment. And it's just like, and I'm with you,
Jerry's
Dave. Like
World, where the scoreboard will block your punt.
yes, I remember that too. I'm just like, I get mad at that sometimes when they're punting and it hits, and I'm like, really? And you know it's a bad day when that happens. But to your point, though, Dave,
You
it's
did
just like
everything
now
right,
saying,
except you hit the dang scoreboard that was overly huge.
oh my gosh. Like I know a lot of college coaches were complaining about that. They were like, the scoreboard, it's too. And I'm like, tell your punter not to punt it so high. Like, I forget which college coach it was. It was in the Big 12 championship a couple years ago. They were fussing the ref. They're like, "You're gonna allow that? You're gonna allow that?" And the ref's like, "What do you want us to do about it?" And
Yeah,
it's just one of them, though. It's a sad state of affairs, Dave. It used to mean something. Now it's if you don't make the playoffs, we ain't playing. It's just sad.
yeah. It is,
But
but it's college football playoffs have changed everything. The money has changed everything, and I mean, like I said, at one time, people were excited even to play in like the Independence Bowl or the let's say, God, what are
I'm trying
really,
to think,
really low bowls that
the
there
Outback
was.
Bowl
Outback Bowl was one. Outback and Citrus.
and
Um,
Dukes.
Duke's Mayo, where you get to watch your coach get dumped with mayo.
The Holiday Bowl. That used to be one of the premier games, and now it's just
Holiday Bowl.
basically no.
Holiday Bowl was really good back in the days. Remember the San Diego one? The Holiday Bowl had really good games. They
Mm-hmm.
usually always
I
had
it,
they had the old
mm-hmm,
WAC champions or the Mount West champions would go to that, and they
mm-hmm,
usually would play a decent opponent from the
mm-hmm.
Power
Well,
Five.
and the thing about too is that Dave, the bowl logistics. Like normally they do a pretty good job of trying to match everyone up, but like Louisville, we got matched up with USC 2 years ago in the Holiday Bowl, and I'm thinking this is an unfair advantage. Like we still played crappy, but it's just like you're sending a Kentucky team all the way to California, and it's just like really, and it's just like that's what I want to see. If we ever get back to a point, Dave, where people want to play in these bowl games, make the logistics right too. Because I've
Yeah.
noticed that they'll send Oklahoma all the way over down in Florida, or they'll send them. And I know realignment had a lot to do with that, but it's just like make it logistically right. Don't send Minnesota cross town to Butte, Montana for a bowl game. Don't do that.
Oh,
Which I don't think
don't
is a
send us
bowl.
to Detroit for whatever it's going to be called that always changes name game in Detroit that always has like the middle of the road MAC team now goes to.
Yeah, or don't send them to SoFi and be like, here, have fun with it. Or don't send them to Arizona where they need to get the logistics right.
Yeah, the pinstripe is in the Detroit Bowl are like my two least don't want to go to bowls. And the only reason why I go to the game in Detroit is if I'm visiting family for Christmas because I have family
Mm-hmm.
out in Detroit. But I
Well,
also have family in Arizona. I'd rather be in Arizona and watch their bowl game. Send me to what's the Snoop Dogg Weed Bowl out in like Tucson.
oh gosh. Well, it's funny, Dave. Doesn't Michigan State and Penn State, don't they play in Detroit as a neutral site game?
What?
Doesn't Michigan State and Penn State, don't they
Oh
play
yeah, yeah.
their
They're playing this year. They're playing in the Lions Stadium as a neutral site game. Well,
Why
technically,
is that?
it's not neutral. It's technically because they can get more fans to go to this game. Michigan State right now is not the Michigan State that we once knew. The last couple of years,
Yeah.
they're just still kind of trying to figure it out over there. I mean, they thought they had a great coach, and then he decided to sexually harass a sexually harassment teacher. What?
Oh gosh. That's Mel Tucker for you. But I was watching that a couple years ago, Dave, and I was like, why is this at Ford Field? I'm like, I understand it's a great venue. You could pack fans in it, but that building was Penn State, blue and white. I barely saw any green. Like I was like, this is supposed to be a neutral site game, but it's basically a Penn State home game.
Ford Field? No, it's a Michigan State home game. It's still going to be a Michigan State home game. It's just basically at Ford Field. It's kind of like Northwestern playing. Instead of playing in Evanston, they're playing at Wrigley, which Minnesota is going to be playing in this year. We're playing at Wrigley.
Which don't get me wrong, like the Jayhawks.
Wrigley's a great baseball stadium. I don't want to watch football there.
Well, they like Arrowhead. They hosted Kansas last year while they were building their stadium. And a lot of people were like, "Why are they in Arrowhead?" Well, because they're building their new stadium, and it's just like talk about the bowls there, Dave. Like Yankee Stadium, Red Sox Stadium, Wrigley Field. Like Jackson will tell you if he was here, he loves those. He doesn't want those to go away. But I've also heard your opinion on it, and others say I don't want to watch football in those type games, like baseball. But
yeah, I'd rather watch baseball games than football games at a baseball, purpose field. I'd rather go to Wrigley to watch the Cubs play than watch the Gophers beat up on Northwestern. Already there's going to be. I found out there's going to be at least from what I heard, there's more tickets sold right now from Minnesota fans than there is Northwestern fans, and it's always been like that. Northwestern always plays this game at Wrigley, and it's more visiting fans than there are Northwestern fans. But then again, there's always been more visiting fans at Northwestern. They're kind of like I said, they're like the Vanderbilt of the Big Ten.
Yeah, and when Duke played Northwestern last year, there was a lot of Duke fans there. If you remember that, Dave, do you remember that game when Duke and Northwestern played on a Friday night? There was a lot of Duke blue there. There was,
yeah,
and of course the announcers were like, "This is a sold out crowd for Northwestern." I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, "No, it's not." like it might be sold out, but it ain't all Northwestern. There's some Duke there.
Well, when freaking the big schools play Northwestern, if Northwestern is bad, it's like 75-30. It's basically a home game for the visiting team, especially if they're Nebraska or Ohio State or Michigan, because you have a lot of those people, the whole hub of the Big Ten, and all the Chicago's the hub of the Big Ten basically. It was in the original Big Ten, and all the alumni, a lot of the least really upper class alumni that did very well for themselves and got CAO jobs are all over at in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And Hummond says as long as the fields is safe, I think the games in baseball stadiums are cool. I get why people like it. It's just it takes me out of it. I don't know if you feel the same way, Dave, but it kind of takes me out of it.
Yankee Stadium was trash, absolute trash. No, seriously,
wow.
Yankee Stadium's field, the field wise, it was trash. It's cold and it was ripped up to shreds after they were done. There was kids hurting themselves. I watched that game when when Minnesota played Syracuse. about 2
Yeah,
years
that
ago, that was just a bad field.
yeah. When Louisville played Cincinnati on it, I believe 3 years ago in 22 now. That game was literally there was one guy that was wide open, caught it, and he slipped as soon as he caught it. He didn't even get a chance to turn because the turf was
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, that's
Like
exactly.
you couldn't get your footing. And the coaches, both sides even said, change your cleats, change your cleats. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
didn't know this, but apparently players bring 3 or 4 different cleats depending on the weather. They've got ones for snow, rain, field conditions, and they were like, change them. And then the second half, it was kind of better, but they were still
Exact same
slipping,
thing.
and
Exact same.
it,
Yeah.
it was. It reminds me of when the Raiders played in the A's stadium. You remember that, Dave?
The Raiders, I don't.
You remember that when they were in Oakland, their last year in Oakland. You remember that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't follow the West Coast football teams all that much, but I remember when the Raiders played in Oakland. I don't know how bad the field positions were then, but they always had to try to cover up that baseball diamond, and they have just like this temporary turf for like the
Uh-huh.
infield, and kids will slip and fall on that temporary turf.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to get your footing. And the funny thing about it is too, Dave, especially like you look at a place like Lambeau or Soldier Field, like when it rains, I remember watching Northwestern. They played Soldier Field one year, neutral site game, and it rained and it flooded the field. It literally was like watching like kids like stomp around in mud.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like a 7-3 tight game when the fourth quarter started. I'm like, this is just ugly. Like, don't get me wrong, I was okay with it, but I heard a lot of people were very, very upset because they were like, they need to take care of these fields better. And that's
Well,
why we're going to all stadiums
yeah,
because of that.
yeah. That's what I that the Lambeau, not so much, but I would say I know Soldier Field had a lot of its problems way back in the day, especially like in the early years. Well, yeah, in the '80s, yeah, the early years of when they started switch from AstroTurf to grass, they had some big problems.
Exactly. And it's just like I understand it happens. You can't control Mother Nature, but you put a tarp up or something. If you think it's coming, be on the safe side. It and to the point of the baseball thing, I I get why they do it because it makes money and people enjoy the acoustics of it. But if you're watching it on television, Dave, it's not as appealing as you think it is. It's more for
No,
the history, I think.
no.
Like most fans will be like, "That's cool. We're playing in Yankee Stadium, a team that's won 27 World Series. Like that's cool. We got to say we were there." But if you're not in
Mm,
person watching it, it's different.
mm. Yeah, I haven't totally done the in-person thing. I like the Winter Classics for the NHL when they play at football fields and baseball fields, and they have to play it though. They have to play it in a cold environment. When they were playing it out in LA, okay, then it looked really weird.
And what I will say to this is too real fast is Kansas State. I saw a thing where they're going to play in the Royals field in I think 2032, and I'm like, good luck with that. I
Well,
mean,
they're playing
kids are
in
going to be
Dublin
slipping.
this
It's
year.
yeah. So it's interesting how they're doing all this. I mean, I'm curious to see how it happens. But go ahead, Jackson.
Well, anything else before we get to our next caller tonight, Dave?
Nothing else. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna take a little bit more rest. Like this cold's killing me.
Well, we hope you get the film bear good, buddy, and we will see you soon.
Okay, see you later. Bye bye.
Hey,
Oh,
Dave is
man.
always a great caller. Always a great caller. Always enjoyed Dave's conversations. And Jackson, we did have a caller in the queue, but they hopped out, which is okay. No hard feelings. But Jackson, but I think it's time we wrap it up, good buddy.
Oh
It's
no,
been
StreamYard's messing with the other stuff tonight. I am so sorry about that, man. It's messing with the reel, man. I am so sorry about that.
well.
That's the second time it's done that.
Well, I want to say this, Jackson. You know it's not going to mess with us, and we will rectify that situation real. But you know what's not going to mess with us is the Alabama at the voice of college football. Jackson will never mess with you because he loves you, he cares about you, and he wants the best for you. And what's best for you is before we get to Darrell, who's back in here, we'll finish this promo, is Jackson, tell the people what you've got going on and tell the people how you will not let them down. Take it away.
We're going to be live streaming a commit watch party at 11 a.m. or it could be later in the time if and the StreamYard was messing with Darrell again. So I have no idea what's happening. But anyway,
just promote on.
Anyway, so we've got the commitment watch party for Anthony Tate Jones as he's going to decide between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Oregon Ducks and the Texas A&M Aggies. As we'll be going over where he's going to commit to, he'll be making that announcement on the Pat McAfee show. That's what we hear, but some people think it's Bama, some people think it's A&M. Could be somebody else. We don't know. But we will wait and see.
But
and we've got the call-in show, 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Jeffrey and myself as we take your calls all right here on Alabama at the Voice College Football. And of course.
And Jackson, yes, tell the great people what you got going on in your channel, good buddy. Cooking up that jambalaya.
I've got my next episode.
I've
got my next episode, the Jacksonian, with Jordan Bowman and Tiger Paul Craven, where we're going to be talking a lot about the 4th anniversary of Clemson Tigers Live, where we're going to be discussing also our take on the best moments of Clemson Tigers Live, and we'll be talking about what's going on with Clemson entering 2025 and much, much more. Let me tell you, that's going to be a fun ride. And, 322 subs away from that magic number. But before I get to 1,000 subs, I'll definitely need all the help I can get. So like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video or another episode on this channel whatsoever. And for more updates on what I've got going on Alabama at the Voice College Football or the Jacksonian, check me out on Jackson VOCFB on /Twitter. And Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908.
Yes. Now, Jackson. Oh, let's not forget too, Jackson, where the skies are blue too. Let's not forget that.
Well, that's what my friend Mike Debate says. Check me out on Blue Sky Social, where skies are blue and skies are gray. Skies are overcast, but I'm just kind of like, it's another place for me to be, I guess.
But you follow me here on YouTube. Austin.
We got Octavian Cador, a first-time commenter, coming on in.
Go Gators!
Go Gators! Well, we appreciate.
There we go.
There we go. Appreciate the subscription, man.
Chomp, 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 chomp in the swamp. Chomp, chomp in the swamp. Chomp, chomp in the swamp. Anywho. But you can follow me here on Sports Talk with Austin 2002, where I have great content with this young man next. Well, he's not young anymore. He's got 6 children and married. But no, I kid. I love Jackson. I kid. Everyone calm down. I kid. That's part of our friendship. But in all seriousness, still got great content with Jackson. We'll have our Big Ten predictions coming up, our top 25 preseason reaction, call-in show, or whatever we decide to make it. And whatever else we think of. You never know. But we will also be doing final picks and picks. If I could say this, picks and analysis and final whistle coming up this season. It's returning for season 2. You all asked for it. You all have been saying that you all have wanted it. So me and Jackson are going to give it to you. We're going to be taking you through the season and hopefully another great year. And who knows, we may become the next Rod and Todd of college football. You never know. But that's where you can follow us, both of us, follow me, and then of course on Twitter. I do a lot of different things. I retweet wrestling, I retweet college football, comment on everything. I'm a do it all type guy, and I promote whoever needs promoting. And that's where you can find me. Sorry, reading the comment, find me. But with that being said, though, Jackson DeReal wants the link. Do you want to put it in there one more time for him?
I just sent it to him in a DM.
Okay. While we wait for DeReal real fast, Jackson, is there anything else we need to promote? Oh, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, click on those notification bells. Never miss another great video or live stream. And we are currently, how many days away are we, Jackson? What's the countdown?
Well, it's officially the last day of July, which means we're basically 23 days till week 0, 30 days till Alabama starts their season, 28 days till week 1. So we got 4 more weeks till week 1, and it's 3 more weeks till week 0.
Yes, which means get ready, folks. Lock in. It's coming. It's happening. And it's going to be a wonderful season ahead for us all. But with that being said, Jackson, this was fun. And I'm excited for our Big Ten predictions coming up here shortly. When that'll be, we will keep you in tow. I mean, not in tow. What's the word I'm looking for here, Jackson? Help me out. I'm fumbling. We will keep you in notifications there.
Keep you updated.
Yes, keep you updated. Thank you. Fumble my words tonight. But with that being said, Jackson, we wish you all a good night's sleep, a good night rest, and a good bye bang. And go Cards.
Roll Tide and good night, everybody.